Good day everyone, welcome to my project video on coding. Today we're going to look inside a Python script I built called HPMS, Hospital Patient Monitoring System. This is a perfect example of how code uses logic to make decisions. It takes a patient's temperature, heart rate, and blood pressure. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire code line by line. Just a heads up, I'm not an expert in Python codings. I'm purely doing this for educational purposes only. In this code, we'll see how we use a function to set the health rules and how a loop keeps collecting data until we decide to stop. Let's break down. First line is print HPMS. Line 1 is a simple command that prints the text HPMS to the console. Next, in this line, we define a function named pStatus. A function is a block of code that performs a specific task. This one takes three parameters: temp, H rate, and bpress. Next is this line. In this line, we have our first condition of our function. It checks if any of the vitals are in the most extreme range. If temperature is outside 35 to 39 degrees, or heart rate is outside 50 to 120 bpm, or blood pressure is outside 80 to 180, then the condition is true. If the condition on this line is true, the function immediately returns the string critical in this line and stops the code from executing. It will stop executing this function, this whole function. In our next line here, the elif, this is the second condition. If the first condition wasn't met, the program checks this one. It looks for a slightly less severe but still concerning range. If the condition in this line is true, the function returns the string as needs attention. Next line is else. This is the catch-all. If neither of the previous if or elif conditions were met, it means all the vital signs are within the safe or standard range. If we reach this line, the function returns the string to normal. Right here. In this block of code, we initialize four variables called total patients, normal count, attention count, and critical count. We initialize the variables and we put a counter for these patients starting at 0. We put the value rather at 0. In this next code, we use the while loop. In this line, it starts an infinite loop, the while true. We use the while loop here. The while true statement means the code inside this loop will run forever until it hits a break statement. This is how we're gonna process multiple patients. First line, we just printed this header. Next, in this block of code, we prompted the user to enter the patient's name and stars it at the pinning variable which we initialized here, the patient's age, temperature, heart rate, and blood pressure. Next line. In this line, we call the function we defined earlier. It passes the just entered temperature, heart rate, blood pressure values to the status function and stores the return status in a new variable called status right here. We initialize it right here, status. Next line, if the status is normal, the status right here, if the status is normal, we increment the normal underscore count by 1. If the status is needs attention, it will increment the attention underscore count by 1. If neither of these returns true, it will go here, the catch all, else it will increment the critical underscore count by 1. Next, we just print this header patient record. Next, in this block of code, in this line right here, we used an F string to neatly print the patient's name. Next, from here, we just printed the patient's data that was entered in this block of code earlier. Right here, we used an F string. F, double quotation age, curly braces, and the variable name right here, pH, to print the value of pH. In this line, it increments the overall counter for total underscore patients by 1. Next line, this line, it asks the user if they want to enter another patient. It then uses that lower to make the input all lowercase, simplifying the check in the next line. Next line, in this line, it checks if the user's input is anything other than yes. If the user didn't type yes, the break command is executed, which exits the while true loop and moves the program to the next section. The next section is here. We just printed the header summary for it. So in this block of code, we use the F string to print the final counts for the total patients processed and the breakdowns by normal, needs attention, and critical statuses. So this is the end of the program's execution. Thanks for staying with me. Thanks for watching.